Good morning. How are you? Yeah.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you once again for joining us on Desi Sportscast. It's really good to have you all, whether you're watching this stream now or later or the podcast, listening on the podcast. Really good to have you with us, and thank you for the continued support. Just want to put a quick message out there as well. If anybody wants to join us, Nevin and I, on this show, just drop us a line. Really good to have people passionate about Indian sport joining us, especially on this show. If it's about football, just get in touch either through our Facebook page, Twitter page, or on desisportscast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out the website where Gursimran is putting on some good articles, good thoughtful articles, so check those out as well. But on to the show, and it's a warm welcome as always to the expert Nevin Thomas. Good afternoon, my friend. How are you today?
Good afternoon. Yeah, good day for both of us, I guess, considering both the blue teams managed victory.
Yeah, but then both the blue teams had a good day, but you're wearing a red shirt. Is that in preparation for later today?
Yes, absolutely. And it's a game that we as neutrals can enjoy. Whoever wins, we don't care. I'm sorry to be sounding very boring right in the start of the podcast, but a 0-0 would be nice.
Well, you say that, not boring, but it's considering where my boys are, I prefer a draw. Keeps us up there. I certainly don't want United to win because that'll open up a little bit of a gap. So, a draw.
Maybe a 5-5 draw.
I think that might be asking for too much, but famous last words, you never know. But I mean, we started to talk with EPL, so let's continue with that. It was a bit of a slog for your boys. They're not in the best of form, and they've got a huge game on Tuesday. I don't know, did you watch the game against Fulham? I think the sending off did make a difference.
Yeah, I thought Chelsea did deserve to win considering they were dominating, but it's hardly the kind of a performance that will inspire a lot of confidence amongst fans as well. I mean, a victory is nice. Whatever way it comes. As a Chelsea supporter, I'm quite fond of 1-0 victories. I mean, we did see these victories a lot in our early Mourinho years, but those victories were completely controlled.
Yeah.
Chelsea would see out of it. These days, it's not so sure anymore. You're nervous. You're like that a goal could always come back. But good victory. I think in terms of 3 points. And Fulham is a neighbour, and it's a derby, and all those angles as well. I know Fulham is really not the side that's played really well in the season, but at the end of the day, it's 3 points, and this is a very topsy-turvy league, right? So every 3 points that can come your way is a valuable addition. So yeah, I think Chelsea needed that 3 points, and that's good. But the next match is going to be very tough, and I don't think Chelsea are the favourites going into the next match.
Yeah, I might dispute that. I think just the name and the talent you've got might just edge it, but if you're looking on form, yesterday was a very tough game for us. Southampton are a very, very good team. They had a lot of injuries, but they at half time, I would have even though we're winning 1-0, I would have taken a 1-1. They played really well. I've got really close friends who support Southampton, so we were on talking about it, and we don't usually do well at home, surprisingly, against Southampton, but the team is looking very good at the moment. The squad is really strong. It's a good time. It has been for a while, and I've said it quite a few times, to be a Leicester supporter, but sitting there second after 18 games halfway through the season, it's a good sight. Looking at the table this morning, and I've said it again many times, it's surprising how much a Leicester victory, or in your case a Chelsea victory, makes the weekend, and in fact the week. But Tuesday, I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, Chelsea, they're not playing the free-flowing football One expected with the talent you've got. The pitch yesterday wasn't. I think it's the rain we've had. We've had a lot of rain, and you can see that on some of the pitches. And King Power's pitch is usually like carpet, but yesterday was. You could see the signs of a little bit of the effect of all the rain, and I don't think he'll have time to recover before Tuesday. But I'm looking forward to it, and by the sound of it, you're not confident, or you're just saying that for the sake of it, and
No,
you're
I'm
quietly
not confident
confident.
at all. And that's been how the season has been. Even when Chelsea were performing well at some point, even then I wasn't really, it's got to do with what Lampard is trying to do. I'm not very sure. You you, you still want to trust Giroud and put in those crosses, or do you want to have a more hit system? Do you have the ability to play that kind of football? Like, can we play football like a Nagelsmann's side, for example? I think Havertz and Werner would have thrived in such a team. So, yeah, I think I'm confused. What do they try to achieve in
Yeah.
the summer? But as of now, Lampard is very clever that he puts his team in situations where now people are also like, just concentrate on victories now. Okay, we'll temporarily delay the transition and the evolution of the team, which in the long run doesn't help, right? He got away with last season as
Mm.
well, saying, "Hey, it's a transition, this that." But this is a Chelsea side. This is a Chelsea side that you want reaching semi-finals of Champions League, not being bothered about the Champions League fight itself. For a spot in the Champions League. But right now we're like maybe, maybe not. And with the squad, with the money that's spent, this is not where Chelsea should be. And I've not really seen enough to say the occasional losses or draws were unjustified. I think they were all true, and it sort of reflects the form and the quality of the team right
Yeah, I totally agree. You can't see the direction that they're going in. I thought I could see it at the summer when they were buying all this young talent. But to say they need another transfer window to complete this transition, it's
Yeah.
it's hard to sell that, isn't it? When you spent so much money in the last transfer window that you still need
And
another one.
it's bizarre because you have somebody like a ZH who's an incredible crosser of the ball, very gifted player. Then it makes sense to play Giroud. I completely understand. You want a target man for Giroud. But then why did you then go that? Why did you
Mm.
have to sign Havertz, for example? You probably have been able to sign more a hardworking midfielder and another striker for that money. Because they paid a lot of money for Havertz. And I mean, Werner, I think, is a slightly better addition. A lot of people keep saying that he's not scoring and all, but
Mm.
he's played out of position most of the time. And then he has the pace. I just feel that he's still adapting. That I have still hopes on Werner,
And
especially I think if you
sorry, I was just going to say that being young players, getting your confidence back is not going to be as quick as if you're a little bit more experienced and you're having a bad run. So you've been through it all. But also in terms of your manager, I think I've said it a couple of shows before that the Sainthood is slightly losing its shine. He even in the press conferences, he does look a little bit under pressure.
yeah.
Do you think? Well, I don't know if this is hindsight, but he was the manager that was needed to manage a young pool of
Not at
talent,
all.
expensive
Not at
talent.
all. Not at all. Not at all. I always thought, I mean, it made sense as an interim management. Like, he's a popular guy. Chelsea needed the fans back. Make media happy. It made sense all that. But to trust him with that much money and that big a project, I would have definitely preferred. Even somebody like Carlo Ancelotti. I know a lot of people think that he's past, but like you would have given him this money. I'm sure Carlo Ancelotti would have made you championship winning side. So yeah, I think it's a little. I don't think he has reached that level yet. It's still it's a process, and he's not really a tactically super coach as well, right? So you've got very young coaches across the world, in Germany especially, who in their 30s are playing brilliant football and inspiring the team to play it. So Lampard has not done that as well. His work at Derby County is clearly not enough to warrant a place in Chelsea. It was just purely Chelsea going by sentiments and thinking, hey, he's such a big guy in our whole history, I guess, like one of the biggest players of their past. So just appointing, thinking that that should be enough. I think the chinks in his armor are now being exposed.
Yeah, and you hear the word project a lot. This team's undertaking a project. I think, talking of my club, I think that tag actually justifies it. You brought in a manager of the caliber of Brendan, and you can see the results. The way he's transformed Harvey Barnes, James Justin, Castagna, the way he's come in. He knows how to build these young players, improve them, and you needed something like that. But at Chelsea, you never seem to get a manager, apart from Mourinho possibly, that had that long-term project with young players.
Yeah. I think that kind of lethal Roman Abramovich streak is past Chelsea. I don't think they are that lethal anymore. If that was the case, Lampard would have been sacked, I think.
But do you think he's not been sacked and treated like the other managers because of who he is and the repercussions for Abramovich?
I know, but like even with somebody like Sari, and it felt like there was some sense of patience. I don't know. Maybe he would have been sacked if Juventus hadn't come in. Or, I don't know how it works, but I see there has been slightly less lethal approach these days for Chelsea. I think even in their transactions, even it's been a while since they went crazy on a summer. Right? This was just it's kind of like a blip in some sense, because I think post 2012 when all these Lampard, all these Eden Hazard came in, I don't remember a transfer season that was this big. So Chelsea is also toned down. I feel they want to be more self-sustaining and all that. So part of that would be to keep hold of the manager, because you have to pay them relentless amount of money even if you sack them. So but like Lampard is obviously being helped by the fact that he's a legend. That's all.
Yeah,
It's a both.
Yeah, and don't forget, you were banned from buying, so you did build up a bit of a war chest over those couple of windows. But you mentioned the managers and the money they have to be paid if they're sacked. There's a very good example of Pardew at Newcastle. He was given a 10-year contract. I think he was sacked after 2 years, and they just finished paying off his contract. I think it was last year. And he was sacked like 6-7 years ago. So there's long term and then there's silly.
No, I think we've discussed this again in our previous episode from last year. Is that I think the best way to judge a manager is how much a player improves. So you just rightly highlighted how Barnes or Justin has improved so much playing under Brendan Rodgers. Who do you pick for Chelsea? Who's that one player who's like really improved? I was very impressed with Kovacic as a player.
Yeah.
Kovacic has not really reached another level. Give Kovacic to a Klopp maybe. He turned into some really nice midfielder, and that is why you can't just buy finished products and just make a team. You have to improve them as well. And I don't see anyone. Maybe Zuma in terms of confidence, but Zuma was always a big potential in terms of. I remember Mourinho saying long back that this is the guy can trust to become a big star in defense. So who is that one player that Lampard has drastically improved? You might again argue Mason Mount, but he's just a hard-working rock, and I think he'll do the same for all the managers. And it's not like Mason Mount is just catapulted into another level.
No.
He's still just a hard-working midfielder to get things done. So I think that's a good way to analyze Lampard, and that he faced that as well.
Yeah, and you talk about managers making a difference, and the big game later today, and I think we talked about it last week or the week before, whether Manchester United are on this run not because of their manager but because of their players. I can't see that happening for Chelsea, that no matter the manager, I don't think the players, maybe they're all too young or whatever, I don't think they can do what the United players seem to be doing.
Yeah, true. And I don't know, I think Bruno Fernandes has been one of the biggest signing, biggest impact signings I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I know people accuse him of diving, taking a lot of penalties and all that, but what a player! Like he's just out there creating passes, and he unleashed the potential of the likes of Rashford and Martial, Greenwood, Vardy, and all that. Then the fact that he's there and he puts these things on play for all the players, I think. Yeah, I think Bruno is the key. I mean, Manchester United without Bruno is just not the same. And ever since Bruno has come in, even the likes of Juan Mata, for example, whenever he gets game time, he looks nice. I think this is just one player improving the entire squad, and also what a signing because of the fans. I think fan pressure is the reason why they eventually signed Bruno Fernandes. We've been saying forever.
For a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, and wow, so credit to the fans for sticking it out there. The likes of that senior Pogba guy and all those people. It's just like they're endlessly waiting and putting pressure on the man to get the right people, and they have.
Yeah, but I am looking forward to it. I don't think it'll be a classic. Without the fans, obviously, it's a different sort of game. But like I said, from a personal bias perspective, I hope it's a draw or a Liverpool win just to keep us in that little group. How do you think the game's going to go?
I think Liverpool's going to win this.
Yeah.
I just feel they're a superior side, and they must be pumped right now. If this isn't inspiring them, Manchester United, on top of them on the table. This is a side that's gone and won Champions League and Premier League and all that. If this doesn't inspire them, then there's a City side that's slowly beginning to play really, really good football as well. This is a match they have to put their foot down and show that they need business. So I'm going to put my money on them.
And I think it's the first time that Klopp has been in any sort of pressure. Because of the results and the way they're playing. It's not what, obviously it's a different season altogether. They've lost Van Dijk, but still, and they've had a few injuries, but I think this is the first time he's feeling the pressure of what it's like to be champions and the expectations that he's built up there, that he has to live up to now. So and he's not a good loser, so
I don't. You could already see him winding up the Bruno Fernandes penalty part, and
yes,
it's becoming more increasingly clear. Klopp doesn't like when things don't go his way. So
yeah.
I mean, just like all of us, but he's quite evidently, he says it out there, and I'm sure he's going to get this Liverpool side motivated.
Yeah, it'll be interesting in many ways. It is a big game, and like you said, Man City are slowly but surely coming back, not to the free-flowing, beautiful, ticky-tacky football, but they're getting the results, and they seem to be on a bit of a momentum. So yeah, they're coming back. So and they're playing tonight.
Man City is like my second favorite team right now.
Yes, and let's talk about it now, actually, because I did have it to talk about. I was going to end the show talking about that, but let's talk about it now. What's it like to have something that you created beautifully, I might add, and for people who have not seen it, please tell us about this. But what's it like having something you created liked and shared by a certain Kun Aguero?
Oh, I mean, I'm not even in the wildest imagination did I ever think that we were going to reach Aguero and share it and all that. So I was surprised, and it was shared to me by the guy who I shot. So he texted me at like 2:30 in the night saying, "Dude, check this out! Like Aguero has shared." What? Like how?
Tell everybody first what was it?
Sorry?
Well, tell everybody first as to what we're talking about. What did you do?
Oh yeah, so I made a video for the Premier League channel, India specific Premier League channel, about this fan who named his son Aguero. He was inspired by the goal that won the league for the first time, and once he got married and realized that he had a baby boy, he was like very clear that he's going to name him Aguero, and also, like, if I might add, he comes from a very, very beautiful space geographically. I was lucky enough to shoot at his home, and back side of his home has a sea, and the front side of his home has a lagoon. So
Wow.
it's one of the most prettiest locations I've ever been. So it's just walking distance to, if you want to chill at the lagoon, yeah, we can go this way. If you want to chill at the sea, you can go this way. It's a very fascinating piece of. It's not an island. It's just a piece of land that just gets into the water, and these are the spaces that makes Kerala incredibly beautiful. So it comes from such a space, and I went and shot a video. It was fun, and but we are both thinking, yeah, maybe we are happy that it's featuring in the Premier League channel. I mean, that's pretty big, right? And then in the early morning hours, and mind you, I have to wake up the next day and drive 4 hours to for a shoot. So I was planning to wake up at like 6 o'clock, and this is happening at 2:33, and I'm getting calls like, somebody announced my engagement online. Everybody's like, whoa, wow. And it's like, why is no one sleeping here? Why is everyone calling? Everybody's just excited. Everybody's like excited. Oh, like your content got shared by Aguero, so we are also famous now. You have Aguero's number. I'm like, God, nobody knows that I made that video. It's just, it's fun banter and a lot of talk. And, people just, texting in family group saying, I mean, we know Aguero. Aguero is our friend now. And good stuff like that. I think the one entire day my phone kept buzzing, and it was strange because one of those days when I didn't really have access to phone, I was busy like with the shoot throughout the day. And like evening, I had to again drive another 2 hours to Coimbatore. So I finally reached Coimbatore, got to the hotel room, opened, and I'm like, whoa, like I can't catch up. There's a lot of happening on all platforms, but it felt nice.
And for
Felt nice for Tony, the guy who featured in the video. Felt nice that Aguero. I actually took time to react to a fan. He's not one of those. I mean, it doesn't look like those PR handle that comes, does it? Like he just occasionally tweets one tweet. Like
no, you can tell that was a personal tweet.
Yeah, it was a very personal tweet, and so nice of him. And I hope City maybe takes this out. Maybe take him to Etihad, send him some jersey. I saw a lot of comments. I mean, as usual, social media can be biased as well. I think a lot of comments saying, it's a rip-off jersey. It's not a original. People forget that it's very difficult.
I was going to say.
Yeah. It's just if he can name his child Aguero, I'm sure if he had the money, he'll buy an original jersey. Just be kind. And,
yeah. I mean, it's just such a beautiful story, and I think I was going to say that it was beautifully shot, but like you say, you can put your camera outside any video in Kerala, and it'll be a beautiful scenery.
Exactly.
No doubt about that. But credit to you for the way you put that video together. I'm not just saying it because you're a co-host on this one, but it truly is. And for anybody that's not seen it, it's on the Indian Premier League Twitter. Premier League India. Check that out. And have you? Obviously, you've spoken to Tony. He must be on another world at the moment.
Absolutely, he's become a star. Like everybody follows him. Especially for the city folks, I like they're very underrepresented folks. I think in India, where everybody does like, oh, you're glory hunters, you're plastic. That's what they all say. So to actually have one of their fans represented, it's usually just Liverpool and the Chelsea. That gets featured all the time. So for a City fan to come there in Aguero to share it, I think City fans are elated in this country, and they've really taken it up. They are the ones sharing it. They're the ones who are happy. Good for them. I'm happy for them.
Yeah, absolutely, and I respect that. I know people now will say that you're glory hunting and what have you to Tony, but to be fair to him, he did say that he started supporting them from 2008. I think he said.
Yeah.
So before the really big.
My question is, what if I actually start supporting from 2009? It's fine, right? It's fine. I mean, I started following football from 2013. I see a good side play good football, win the league, and it's natural for me to support. I don't know what is wrong about supporting. It's not like everybody is 60 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if you're like 15 years old and everybody's like, oh, you're plastic? But like in my memory, I've only seen a good Manchester City sides. Like I can't go back to the 80s and say, oh no, we were pathetic, so hence I can't support City. It's just.
I think it is different rules if you live outside England. when you're supporting
Okay,
Premier League
yeah.
teams. It is different rules. I mean, I will not respect any Man City fan. I've got a really close work friend who supports Man City. But if you live in Leicester, you shouldn't be supporting anybody else. But living outside England, I can understand that. You know, you see a game and you pick a team, and then if you stick with them, and to be fair, he didn't know how Man City's project was going to go.
Yeah.
And naming your son after Aguero, that's a big deal. Let's face it, that's a big deal, and that's a lot of commitment. And I think he did say that he met some tourists who thought he just got this shirt and he was wearing it for the sake of it, but when he told them that he was a fan, I think
And
that's
mind you, I mean, it was actually a 10-minute. He does talk about somebody like Stephen Ireland and all the. It's not like he didn't know. So like there are the comments saying, do you know who's Ireland? Of course he knew. I mean, we have a we can't put like a 15-minute video. We have to make it as short as possible.
yeah, of course, yeah. No, but I urge everybody who's not seen it to check it out. It's a beautifully shot video by Nevin that showcases Nevin's talent, but also the interview he did. It was a very.
In fact, there is another video that I've shot, which I personally like more, about an Arsenal fan who named his son Arsenal. I thought that was cuter, and that was actually a very nice story. And he was incredibly sweet in his descriptions. He says about this article which he read. Football is not just filled with air, but also with emotions. And that line just stuck
What a
with me.
line.
Yeah, what a line. And I'm like, if the listeners are checking out, I hope you check out the other videos. That's sweet as well.
Oh, I'm not too bothered by Arsenal fans and Man United fans and Liverpool fans. They're around every corner, but Man City fans, to be fair to them, they're not every corner, even in Manchester. But no, it was a beautiful video, and like you say, I hope once things get back to normal, Man City do follow up with something for the young the gentleman and his kid, and ultimate obviously would be to make his dream come true, bring him to the Etihad, give him a day out that he'll never forget, nor will his kid. Hopefully he's old enough to, well, he won't be old enough, will he, if it's in the next couple of years, but he'll look back that he was there.
I'm sure he will have enough photos to remember.
Yes. No, beautiful story. And I was going to talk about it, but I'd mention it because it's not every day something you do is retweeted by.
I mean, I didn't even share the Arsenal video so much, thinking like, okay, this is me doing my work. But like when Aguero shared it, I was like, I have to now tell people that I made that video.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, it's not from a management company or something like that.
Yeah.
Because of the message, you
It was
can
very
tell.
evident.
Yeah. No, fantastic story. A really feel good story. A lot of stories that we need at the moment. So, and it made me feel really good, even though it's a Man City fan. But I really enjoyed it, and I wanted more of it. I know you can only do 10 minutes, but it was beautifully shot, and I really liked the interview. But moving on to what's been happening in the past week and the goings on, and I thought the previous week when we talk about the sacking at BFC, I wasn't expecting another one so quickly, especially on the back of a decent result, which was a 1-1 against BFC. And we said last week that BFC is going to have a tough game against North East United. It's not going to be easy as they try and recover under the new temporary management. But what do you make of? I don't know what surprised me more, the BFC sacking or the North East United sacking.
For me, it's North East United side for sure. Like, he was doing well, right? Everybody liked Gerard moves, and people were touting him as like next big thing in India. He got a very average Northeast side to play really good football. Not necessarily saying most attractive football, they held their position. And then there is a beauty in executing a good plan, right? It's not always about it's attack. It's about like good plus defense as well. And I thought, I don't know why on earth Northeast United should be unhappy right now. They're not a side that's gone out and paid for a lot of players, and they're doing okay. I don't think they had any ambitions at the start of the season. A mid-table finish would have been, they would have been more than happy with it. So when I look at it, and since I've worked with Indian football, my first reaction was, okay, this is just a cost cutting. there's nothing new, right? They've realized that the season is out. They probably don't want to spend so much more money on a coach or something, and they're just. I know you would think, hey, he has a contract, so he'll get paid the entire amount of what he. No, it doesn't work that way in India. When they're sacked, they cut out a deal and they pay some 10% of 20% of it. And, you don't want to get into details of it. I'll discuss this outside the call. And so, I mean, that was my first reaction. The second reaction was maybe Khalid Jamil is a big presence. And again, it's just allegations, and I'm not saying I know anything about it, but I got this feeling that did Khalid Jamil have enough influence to say, that the team wanted to play with Khalid Jamil and not with Gerard Knows, and did some event in the dressing room part that it reminded me of Lobera sacking in some sense. Why on earth is our first reaction, right? Why would FC Goa let go Lobera? And the immediate copy that comes out, the story that comes out is one of these Indian sports publications writing about how the dressing room was lost. If Lobera had lost his dressing room, why did 5 players
Go with him.
Yeah. Right. It makes no sense, right? So here also you kept hearing that Gerard Wilson lost the dressing room, and why? They're winning, and not necessarily winning, but like at least performing well. Players were being given the chances. It's not like some big name was being brought, and that could have played the goal and anything. Nothing of that sort. So this is, the management has a big influence in Indian sports media. I mean, I hate admitting it because I'm part of the gang, but I see a lot of fellow journalists being so easily convinced by what management says, and they think that's the answer. Hello, management has an agenda, and management will not be telling you the truth about what happened. So, if I were a journalist, I would, say, I'm not writing that copy yet. I want to know the other side of things, and then, saying, maybe that's, he did actually lose the dressing room. So, murky to say the least. I don't think it's as simple as Gerard losing the dressing room. I don't think a dressing room that's lost would have held Bangalore to 1 draw. So I don't know what they're hinting at, but yeah. My first reaction was something else is happening with the Northeast management. We've been hearing stories otherwise also about financial difficulties, about even darker rumors like they're trying to disband the team and all that. So I don't know. In a Kalpan discussion, Chennai and CDO did admit that a lot of teams halfway through the season sometimes think, okay, there's no relegation, we're definitely not making it to the playoff, now it's budget cut time. So I think it's a mix of all of this, and it's not just a manager losing the West.
See, that's an incredible insight for me, because the financial angle I'd not even thought about, that they're cutting their losses, and because my immediate reaction when you said that was, well, they'll still have to pay his contract. But you've clarified the situation as to what goes on in Indian football in the back room. But if that is the case, and we talked about Gerard at the start of the season, he came across well. He's a young manager, seemed to know how tactically he was really aware. And he was playing with, let's face it, limited resources. And yes, they have gone through a blip. They played 6, lost 3 and drew 3. But don't forget, in that loss was against ATK as well. But a good draw against Mumbai, and BFC, I think it was. Was it BFC they had a good draw against? Yeah. But I thought of him well, and I know you did as well. But I think the fact that this could be because of financial reason, they're cutting their losses. How are they going to attract managers? Or is money if you pay the money, people will come for 6 months or 4 months? Because they did the same thing last year, didn't they? They got rid of is it Yanni? In February. At least they've given Jamil a bit more time, but you build up a reputation as a management of not a good one, and then you'll be struggling.
It's like asking how is Watford FC getting managers? So, I mean, they get because there's just plenty of fish out there in the sea, and so eventually somebody bites the hook, right? So, if you are a manager of some repute, and then they might think, no, Northeast United doesn't seem the most convincing project out there. But if you're a Gerard who's young and looking to make a mark and looking for that right opportunity to head a team, they'll take it, right?
Yeah,
Like I
but
remember, I don't know if I said it to you or some of my friends, but like I there was a FC Goa versus Northeast match, and I thought like the coaches should have been swapped because I've not really seen something special with one Fernando, and I thought Gerard Moose was the more exciting one in terms of organization and the animated performances on the touchline as well. I kind of liked him. I thought he was a good coach. And I like such characters. Probably also because I'm a Chelsea fan and come from the same school of thought of defense and all that stuff. But yeah, surprising and not surprising. Let's be honest.
well, it was well, you've got the inside knowledge. I don't, because it was really surprising for me. That's why I couldn't understand which was the bigger shock to me. But I mean, I did say that if the management is going to treat managers like this, the owners rather are going to treat managers like this, then you're going to struggle to get players, because players will say, we're coming to a club with no ambition. They've got no long-term project. I know you're saying,
No, that's not how it works in India. But in India, there are footballers playing for free simply for.
So do you think he'll change once?
exposure.
Yeah, but you mentioned there's no relegation. So do you think relegation will change how?
It can't come soon enough. It can't come soon enough. Like I want Kerala Blasters, Northeast United, Odisha FC, all of them to face that. Go in with fear.
Yeah.
You lose a lot of money and you're going to lose a lot of good players. Go play like you need to, battle, and you have not given up. Right now, sometimes I feel like these teams are just taking it easy now. Halfway through the season, I've I don't want to tell names, but I've been in the brunt of a season like this, and I've seen people being sacked. I've seen people just laid off because the site just realized, yeah, this season we're not achieving much, so we need to cut short the plans. So I've seen it with my own eyes in Indian football, not necessarily in this league or not necessarily for this specific team, but yeah. So I mean, maybe I'm also all this skeptical and curious and everything because there's a saying that a cat that's fallen in the hot water will be scared even if it sees a normal water.
You
Yeah,
become
it's
cynical when you're in that environment, don't you?
yeah,
You always
yeah.
you look on the negatives, but no, I still think if a club is managed so badly, they're going to lose money. I'm sure, like you said, Northeast are not going to be making money if this is the way they behave. They'll probably break even or not lose as much as they probably
And
thought. But then again,
it's sad, right? It's sad, right? Imagine this is the kind of an area they represent the hotbed of
and
football. Like
yeah, sorry, go on.
no, I'm just saying that like Northeast is a team that you would expect to have like base in Imphal, base in Kohima, maybe in Aizawl, get the players, work with local teams, have separate leagues of their own. The potential to do
Oh,
so much in Northeast United.
this
And yet
is
this is the team that's done.
this is what I think we've said it before. That it's such a bedrock of football, and the talent that comes from that region, you can see in all the other teams. The potential is nowhere near being realised by the ownership of Northeast United. I think that's really disappointing. I mean, the other states, Kerala Blasters, they've got one state, all right. They've got other teams, big teams like Gokulam, and they take a bit of the talent. But Northeast have got all this talent just to themselves. Bit of passion, bit of imagination is where they could be. And even now, I mean, with 12 points, they're not far away from the playoffs. I mean,
Absolutely.
a couple of
It's like
wins.
giving up, right? It's just giving up on no reason.
Yeah, it's
So why didn't you just back your manager with a good signing in January and actually go for it? Give
yeah.
it a shot.
Yeah, that would have brought him a lot of respect, a lot of new fans as well, and the existing fans would have really, thought well of the management as well, that they're going for it. Why not have dreams? I mean, if you wanted an example, there's a club in the northeast, ISO, who did
Yeah.
the impossible.
The Leicester of India.
Yeah, so they've got an example on their doorstep. Think big, dream
And use
big.
their players. They have Isol the club as well. You can obviously use them as your, feeder club, and you have like programs there. Isol have programs in, like I said, in Imphal, in Kohima, in Arunachal Pradesh. There's like a lot of states, a lot of football there. Sikkim is known for a good football, but and beats.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
you
not. Bharat, what I'm trying to say is it's not even expensive.
yeah,
In India,
yeah,
it's very cheap to pull this off. You just need the desire. People will play football for you if there is promise, not even money. If
yeah.
there is promise of a better future, they will do this for you.
And
All you need is sincere effort. That's all.
yeah, that's true. And I also was thinking, you've got the players around you from even countries like Bangladesh. The national team has got talented players. They're not going to be expensive. You just need
Yeah.
that imagination. You're near Bangladesh. There's good players there. We've seen that in the national team.
And
They
in
gave
terms
our
of
national
currency
team.
conversion, in terms of currency conversion, makes
Yeah,
good deal for them as well
yeah.
to come to play in India. I don't know if you saw Minerva versus Gokulam, or rather Punjab FC versus Gokulam. Minerva. And the Punjab FC keeper is the national team keeper for Nepal.
Hmm.
And he was incredible, super keeper. Like he was single-handedly blocking whatever Gokulam had, like shot at him in the first half. Absolute stellar performance. And you also saw Chencho, who's also called the Ronaldo of Bhutan. He had like an incredible season with Minerva in that one season. They may not win the title. Chencho was their star. And Chencho is now back and playing for Punjab FC and stunning, praise and so. So why are we not looking at Bhutan? Why are we not looking at Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh? I mean, it beats me.
Maldives.
Afghanistan, occasionally you do here, but even the good ones from Afghanistan we do get. We get like not the national team players, it's probably like one level below. So can we get like a national team star from Afghanistan? And they will play their hearts out
Yeah.
because they don't feel they are in an inferior
They're
league.
coming into a big league.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a showcase for them, and I have to give a shout out here to Mr. Ranjit Bajaj, because in the interview with him I did, he was saying exactly what you're saying. Why are we not looking at local talent? When I say local, I mean South Asian countries, because there's
Yeah.
players there that could potentially, if they were Indian, they'd be challenging to play for the national team. They're that talented.
Yeah.
So why spend big money going outside?
And I remember while I was handling the social media account for the big ISL side, the DMs used to be flooded with agents and players themselves sending their quotes and everything. And it's national team players DMing. It's not even like some XYZ sending it. And I don't know. Are they not attractive enough as a marketing product? But it's not like ISL is an attractive brand, and there's like a lot of merchandise being sold. It's still very early stages for the league, so I have no idea. I have no idea why these players are not getting a chance. And I'm happy that Punjab FC do it. I'm so happy that Chencho came to India. I did try to interview him this summer, and or rather 2020 summer. But in 2020 summer, I did try to reach out and get him to feature in a video interview. And what the agent told me is that he's disappointed that he doesn't have a club. Somebody like Chencho didn't have a club when he was looking at options in Thailand and all that. This is a guy who's performed in India.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean Bangalore bought him, but bought him like a extra property and not necessarily as a starter. And that probably get his form a little and confidence a little. But he did go out to play for Neroka for like a part of a season, like the end part of a season, and he was again playing really good football. Unfortunately, Neroka had defensive issues, and so they kept like losing matches. This guy was always a threat. But then somebody like Chencho struggling to find a team, it never makes sense.
yeah, it made me think as well. Why we're not sourcing more players like that. Um, you could save a lot of money and you'd get much better talent for the money you're spending. I think I've decided now that if I win the lottery here, I'm going to buy an ISL club in the northeast, or buy out Northeast United and make you the president, so we can run that club.
Amazing. Probably not the president, but something more fun. I'm the president.
We'll go down the route of Barcelona. We'll have the fans elect the president, and we'll see what happens. But no, it's shocking to me. It's absolutely shocking, and I think like you say, relegation can't come soon enough if it changes some of the actions. But you don't know. We know what happens in the Premier League. If a team is struggling in December, bring Sam Allardyce in, and he'll save you. So I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Jamil is the Indian Sam Allardyce.
See,
Similar football as well.
you see that's another thing. Have they thought this through? Because he's in quarantine now for 14 days or something, so he can't be in the with the boys training. So he'll be probably taking over with what, 4 games left, 5 games left maybe. And he's not been in the bubble, so he'll have to get to know the players. Some he will know, but I don't know. I don't understand this at all. Bringing somebody like him in instead of having somebody in the bubble take over. I mean, if he was that good, why wasn't he in the coaching staff anyway? Because I think he was looking after.
He was part of the northeast side, and then he.
But I think he was looking after the academy or something, isn't he? That's why he's had to go.
That also happened right now, like a few months back. So everybody's wondering what's happening. Why is he put there? Is it like is there any problem? Which is why I'm guessing if there is it happened that there were like 2 factions, and there's a Khalid Jamil support group, and there was a Gerardus support group, and that clash. I don't know. There were both. I mean, it did seem like there was something else, going through the something happening inside, but you never know, man. It's not even like we have these, journalists who have inside information putting things out for us in India. I mean, we're just very reliant on press releases then.
Something else that we need to change in Indian football. The list is wrong. I think I'm on volume 4 at the moment. But in terms of being by hook or crook, we've got 2 Indian managers now, which we didn't have. Musa BFC and now Jamil at Northeast United. I'm thinking they'll both be there at the end. Well, Jamil especially, but I think Musa will be there till the end of the season now.
Yeah, I'm hoping Pratim also gets a chance. I think he's sort of impressed when he did manage Pune for a while. So hopefully we can see Pratim also involved in football in some sense. And,
where is he now?
He is part of the ISL commentary team.
Oh, is he the young?
With the point.
Yeah. Oh, he comes across really well. I like him. Yeah. All right. Okay. So
he's worked with Bangalore as the assistant coach, and then interim manager for Hyderabad or Pune.
He looks quite young. Is he a ex-footballer or?
I don't know exactly his past, but he did his grades outside India.
Okay.
Like I think UK or I think UK itself.
And,
and then he sort of grabbed the limelight once he was part of that Bangalore side under Westwood, I think.
Okay. No, he comes across. I like him. He's a very good pundit, and I like the way he explains the game. And
I just opened his Wikipedia page, and it says he's actually coached for Shillong Zong as well.
Okay.
In like 2010 to 12, and I don't know if I've heard of this club called DSK Shivajins. They got disbanded a little early, based out of Pune, and then he was with Pune City for a while. Yeah, his last stint is caretaker manager for FC Pune City.
Right. Okay. He comes across as really well, but so did Gerard. But we'll see where he ends up. I'm sure he'll be in a better place. But in terms of the big game last week, ATK Mumbai. Mumbai continued. I mean, they had 0-0 yesterday. But ATK seem to have, Krishna and Williams are not getting the service. They seem to be struggling in that department at the moment.
Yeah, I think now, it sort of reminds me of a Mourinho side once the shine is off in terms of they're more focused on making it ugly than actually winning matches. I mean, it's a fine line, right? Sometimes you just forget that there's a football match to play and you're more focused on annoying and irritating. And I thought Mumbai really gave it to them in terms of footballing style and dominance, and it really, earthed the big names in ATK. 1-0 isn't, I mean, when somebody says ATK Mumbai finished 1-0, you are expecting ATK to win, because that's the kind of score that they're known for. But sort of karma. I mean, Mumbai deserved it for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Go and play football out there, and time for ATK to start, thinking of a plan B. Because now they're becoming very predictable.
Yeah.
They have 5 to use, and just give it to Roy Krishna and he's going to do something. And credit to Hyderabad. What a team!
Oh.
They just refused to give up and playing good football. Young Indians impressing. Similar to Odisha last season, right? In some sense, there's a lot of young Indians playing good football, and they seem to be like together as a unit. So all good, I think.
Yeah, and I was going to come to that, but just Hyderabad. But just before I come to that, you're leading my campaign to stop our young talent bleaching their hair, dyeing their hair. One exception I'm going to make is Bipin Singh of Mumbai City. I've seen him a few times.
He actually deserved it.
Yeah, I'm going to let him keep it. He looks a very, very good talent. First time, obviously, I'm seeing him on a regular basis, but somebody you would have seen a lot more. We've got an abundance of really talented midfield. And the other player that I want, so if you see him or speak to him, tell him, carry on. You've got the talent that deserves that hairstyle. But the other one I wanted to ask you about was, and he really shone against East Bengal, was Jessel, the left back for the Blasters. He's the skipper, right? Again, very, very good player. What's his background?
So Jessel got his first professional contract last year.
Oh, wow.
Went back then. So he's always played in the Goan Pro League and not really made it big. So he was very excited to actually get a contract so late in his career, and he had a very good season last year. Despite Kerala's overall mediocre performance, he impressed as a left back. A lot of people thought he, since having a natural left foot, should have been the first choice or should be in the reckoning for the national team as well. He is error prone though. Sometimes he reminds me of a Luke Shaw in some sense, in terms of very talented, but here and there in terms of defensive, I do see an error creeping in here and there, but a very good left foot.
Yeah.
And if it's a side that really wants crosses, I think he'd be perfect. He had a target man, and he's more than happy to run down the flanks and put in those crosses for them. A good side, good player, and also crying out for more scouting in Goa, right? FC Goa seems to be just I think I speak a lot of things in terms of fishing, but it's like there's a big sea out there with a lot of fish, and FC Goa is the only one fishing.
Yeah.
They put it, they get a lot of fish. They come back home.
Yeah.
There's more fish out there. There can be more boats out there. Just go look for players in Goa. Look at Liston, for example. You went there. FC Goa found him first, but you took it from their boat.
Yeah.
But look, so many players out there. Even somebody like Princeton, I think, is trying to make a mark in FC Goa. Maybe if he had gone to another side, he'd be a starter and dominating matches. And Xavier Gama, all those young players keep coming out of the FC Goa or the Goan setup. I think Kerala Blasters, everybody should be like, okay, we love Kerala, it's got footballers, but maybe we should go to Goa as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Go back to what we were saying about the Northeast. I think that's a big pond with does not fish at all. At least Goa's fishing, but Northeast United are not in the fishing business at the moment.
Yeah.
But in terms of Hyderabad, I wanted to finish on this, and obviously Odisha is my club in the ISL, but it was always good to see the top four in England, the top six being broken into by another club, and I hope Hyderabad or Chennai get through into that top four playoffs. I think the top three, after a relatively poor start, FC Goa seems to be getting into their stride. Obviously the top two are pretty much set, but I hope Hyderabad get through for the reasons you mentioned. I think they're playing really good football. I think a lot of young talent, no really huge big names, especially national team players. What are your thoughts on the fourth place, or do you think somehow BFC will get into it?
I'm surrounded by Kerala Blasters fans, and they don't really like Bangalore so much. So we keep hearing all these jokes about how Bangalore is going to finish 8th in the season, and suddenly you're going to see a press release saying, for some strange reasons, 8th place team is going to make it to the AFC Cup this year. We've had like bizarre explanations, but somehow really helping this team out. Like last time around, how the AFC slot just went to them miraculously, and not Chennai. But jokes aside, I mean, by virtue of performance, Hyderabad deserves to be Bangalore. So Bangalore to be very,
But
the time point is very, start stop and all that. My only worry is, does Hyderabad have enough of a squad depth to continue this run? I mean, this is exactly what happened to Odisha, where they sort of fizzled out once, like the interviews got, and so like for January, for example, so many matches that these teams play that your body is going to take a toll, and Bangalore's bench strength and once you've won something, you just become incredibly wiser. You just know how to play things, and Bangalore's got a lot of winners in that team. So that way, I think both Bangalore and Chennai will keep pushing Hyderabad, because both have a pedigree of winning, and Hyderabad is still a very new be that way. But good to see three teams fight it out while the other is at the bottom and chilling, not really bothered about.
I'm just a little thinking that BFC with like you've just said, the strength they have compared to Chennai and Hyderabad, that might just get a few games together and get into the playoffs. But I really hope Hyderabad will.
But a horrible run of form, right? Like if I have Bangalore, I mean, I know the set of winners and all, but form is also a big factor in these things, and form doesn't really help a team like Bangalore. They've not seen a victory in a long time. For these last 4 or 5 matches, they've not won. So definitely that way Hyderabad is good, and credits to Roka, the second Roka, for taking over when the first Roka left for Barcelona, and sustaining what we did expect from Hyderabad, and actually implementing a very good project.
Well, if the Blasters fan want to see BFC finishing 8th and still qualifying for the AFC Cup, they can make a start on Wednesday. I think you've got them on Wednesday, haven't you? See if you can continue that run. You're right, they've lost 4 and drawn 1 in their last 5, so we'll see what happens on Wednesday. I think if we...
It's called the Biryani Derby now.
I thought the best... I thought you told me the best biryani was in Chennai.
Oh yeah, I love Chennai biryani, but it's not. This is not called Biryani Derby for any biryani reason. It's more banter than anything else.
Well,
BFC, so a lot of people call it Biryani FC.
All right, okay.
And the others are you're not going to get points when you come to Bangalore, so might as well have some biryani.
Fantastic. That's a really good insight from the Blasters in terms of what they think of PFC. So that's good. But that game should be interesting now that we know about the Biryani derby. Look forward to even more and maybe BFC, even if they finish 8th, will qualify the AFC Cup because they've got the right stadium or whatever. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But we've gone over the hour because we've had so much fascinating talk as usual. So thank you again, Nevin. Brilliant day yesterday in India. We saw the rollout of the vaccine, so positive start there. Hopefully we'll progress with that. But you look after yourself, mate. Keep producing these incredible videos, even if they're for the Premier League. Look forward to seeing them more. But you stay safe.
You too. Bye.
Take care.